Are we on the brink of a full-blown trade war? Canada just fired back hard at the United States, imposing massive tariffs in response to U.S. steel and aluminum levies. And this is only the beginning. What does this escalating trade dispute mean for both nations? Who stands to gain, and who will suffer the most? Let's break it all down. Canada strikes back. Today, the Canadian government followed through on its warning. At 12:01 a.m., March 13, 2025, Canada officially imposed 25% retaliatory tariffs on an additional $29.8 billion worth of U.S. imports. Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc outlined the specific categories targeted. Steel products, $12.6 billion. Aluminum products, $3 billion. Other U.S. goods, $14.2 billion, including computers, sporting equipment, and cast iron products. This is on top of the $30 billion in countermeasures that Canada had already introduced. In total, Canada has now retaliated against over $60 billion worth of U.S. goods. And officials are making it clear more tariffs may be coming. Canadian ministers emphasized that these tariffs are a direct response to the United States' aggressive trade policies. They argued that while imposing tariffs was not their preferred choice, Canada had no alternative but to protect its domestic industries from economic strain. What does this mean for you? This battle isn't just about statistics, it's about real consequences for real people and businesses. Canadian officials acknowledge that these tariffs will drive up prices for everyday consumers, making household goods, construction materials, and even certain electronics more expensive. However, they insist this move is necessary to defend key Canadian industries from economic harm. Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly made an impassioned plea to the American public. We need your help to end these tariffs as soon as possible. Call your elected representatives. Send a message to the White House. Together, we can stabilize the markets and fight inflation. Canadian manufacturers and exporters are already voicing concerns about disruptions in trade, with some warning that if the standoff continues, jobs could be at risk. On the flip side, some Canadian industries, particularly domestic steel and aluminum producers, could see short-term benefits from reduced competition from U.S. imports. Trump doubles down. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump remains steadfast in his America First trade agenda, showing no signs of backing down. At a White House press conference today, Trump defended his tariff policies, arguing that Canada's trade system is one of the worst in terms of tariffs on U.S. goods. He also hinted that Canada's dairy industry could be the next target for U.S. economic action. Canada has tariffs on dairy products of up to 400%. It's ridiculous. We're fighting back, and we will win. Donald Trump. Trump also turned his focus to Ontario Premier Doug Ford, criticizing his recent decision to impose surcharges on electricity exports to the U.S. However, following pressure from Washington and the threat of additional tariffs, Ford quickly suspended those surcharges, avoiding further escalation for now. What happens next? The situation is fluid, and there are several critical dates to watch in the coming weeks. Small Blue Diamond March 14, 2025, a crucial high-stakes meeting in Washington will take place between Ontario Premier Doug Ford, Canadian trade officials, and U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Discussions are expected to cover the potential renegotiation of the USMCA, United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, and efforts to de-escalate trade tensions. Small Blue Diamond April 2, 2025, the deadline for additional U.S. tariffs to take effect. If no agreement is reached, the U.S. could impose even more economic penalties, potentially impacting lumber, dairy, and vehicle exports. This date is particularly significant because it marks the end of a temporary pause on U.S. tariffs that were initially postponed in hopes of reaching a deal. The broader impact. The ripple effects of this trade dispute extend beyond just Canada and the U.S. The European Union has also announced $40 billion in retaliatory tariffs on American goods, signaling a potential escalation of global trade tensions. Stock markets have already reacted negatively to the uncertainty, with investors worried about the broader economic implications of a prolonged trade war. If tariffs continue to pile up, businesses on both sides of the border may be forced to make tough decisions, including cutting jobs or raising prices to offset costs. Additionally, industries reliant on cross-border supply chains, such as automobile manufacturers and agricultural exporters, are bracing for major disruptions. Some companies have already begun shifting production to alternative markets to mitigate risks. Can a deal be reached? While diplomatic channels remain open, neither side has shown signs of backing down. Canada has emphasized that it is willing to negotiate, but only if the U.S. agrees to roll back some of its trade restrictions. However, Trump's rhetoric suggests he sees tariffs as leverage to force trade concessions from Canada. One key sticking point is Canada's supply management system for dairy products, which the U.S. has long criticized. Trump has made it clear that he wants better access to Canada's dairy market, and this could become a major factor in negotiations. Final thoughts. So, where do we go from here? Will Canada's tough stance force the U.S. to reconsider, or are we witnessing the start of a prolonged economic battle? This trade dispute is far from over, and the coming weeks will be critical in determining the future of North American trade relations. The stakes are high, and the economic consequences could be felt for years to come. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this update informative, don't forget to like and subscribe for more breaking news on this evolving story.